Hello and welcome to Hits in History. Today's song is Angie by the Rolling Stones. Let's go back to October of 1973 when the song reached the #1 spot in the United States, where it stayed for 1 week. But first, what else was going on around the world? Well, the Arab oil embargo triggered the energy crisis of 1973, and the Watergate investigation was underway. Remember when there was a break-in at the Democratic National Headquarters at the Watergate Hotel in Washington, carried out by the United States President Richard Nixon and his administration. But back to the song Angie. You know, in 1973, people were already talking about those old men, the Rolling Stones. These guys are over the hill. Can you imagine in 1973? Well, they weren't, of course. This song Angie was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. It's a throwback. It's a ballad that actually goes further back and sounds a lot like the ballads they used to produce even way back in the late 1960s. Now, this was a very eventful time for the Rolling Stones. Not necessarily a positive time. If we go back just 1 year, the year prior to that, they had just fired their manager. They had to settle out of court. They spent $27 million on that. They had just carried out an elaborate tour called the Rolling Stones Touring Party. They were just kicked out of France. They no longer could hide their money in France. No more exile there. And they were continuously having problems with drugs, and they, of course, were being put on the no wanted or no entrance lists of countries throughout the world. But at the time, this song was a song that comes from the Goat Heads Soup album, Angie. And they went to Jamaica to record this song. They wanted to absorb the Caribbean sights and smells and sounds. They wanted to relax, and they wrote the song down there. In fact, it was Mick Taylor who talked a little bit about goat head soup, saying that it was a soup that was a delicacy in Jamaica, and that the way to prepare it was to find a dead goat on the highway and somehow cook the brains of this goat. It was really strange, but anyway, it seemed to work. They were very relaxed down there. Angie was just one of the songs that they wrote down in Jamaica. It has a very nice piano and string arrangement. That was 1973. 1974 would be a very different year for the Rolling Stones. No top 10 hits, and Mick Taylor would be replaced by Ron Wood. That's the story today. Thanks for watching Hits in History.